All right, everyone. Welcome to this full moon weekend Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for August 24th to the 26th of 2018. All right, so full moon in Aquarius. If you were expecting me to say Pisces, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. We are using the actual size of the constellations called True Sidereal Astrology. All right, so full moon here, actually a very easy full moon, collectively speaking. Of course, our personal charts will determine that more so, but it is forming a kite in Aquarius. So great time now with this full moon to be integrating Aquarius qualities, which is essentially our progressive side. What are our future ideals, right? This forward thinking, progressive, innovative nature. And through this, expressing our individuality, our true self, and cultivating a bit of freedom and change perhaps with some of these ideals. So with this, both the traditional and modern rulers of Aquarius, Saturn and Uranus, are going to be in a kite, so in a trine with this full moon. So lots of supportive energy with the rulers here, which usually suggests the energy flowing, again, collectively easy. And so with Saturn, maybe some stability and structure coming in, building things around some of these ideals. And with Uranus, a bit of a push to make some changes and to, again, disrupt things in a way that's healthfully creating more positive change in our life, so that our life is more of a reflection of our true selves. All right, so let's look at all of this. We also have Venus squaring up to Pluto on Sunday. So let's look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so here's the chart for the full moon. So the full moon will be on Sunday, August 26th at 9:26 Eastern time, if you do want to make that calculation. So for all intents and purposes, towards the end of the weekend. So here's the actual chart for the full moon. Again, we are using the actual size of the constellations. As you can see here, this does change the signs from mainstream astrology. But if you were to look up at the sky, you will see the full moon in Aquarius. So full moons are a time of integrating the qualities of the sign, in this case, the water bearer, Aquarius. And if we look at the constellation, there's a few symbolic things represented by this. And I'd say the most important is that it's someone pouring water into a river for all to drink. So the reason water is associated with this, Aquarius is an air sign. And so this is why it has to do with future possibilities, thinking, progressive things, individuality, and even community matters. But the water symbolism here is really of the ideals, right? Aquarius is all about cultivating our future ideals. So it's the side of ourself that wants to do that. So this could be, of course, ideals for the world, right? So this could be a great time for getting involved with what the world needs, our communities, network circles, how can we contribute to things that are larger than ourselves, but also on a fundamental level or on a personal level, accessing that sense of freedom, of individuality, of that we're all a unique spark, a unique individual in this web, right? In this world or in the cosmos. And so we have a unique role to play. And so it is accessing this individual freedom of being our true selves. So really good time to do this. And this is really the case when you factor in the fact that it's a full moon, because not only is a full moon an integration of the moon energy of Aquarius, but also of the sun energy. And with the sun in Leo, this has been over the past couple of weeks a really good time of getting in touch with the side of ourselves that knowing more about how we gain energy and what gives us that life force and prana, what excites us, and expressing that and cultivating these things for more energy and life force. So with the full moon, of course, full moons are about this balance and integration of both. So this is the balance of, in order to access our true selves, we do need to be expressing ourselves. We do need to be doing things that we gain energy through, right? And focusing on these passions or whatever it is. So the integration and balance of both of those. And also in terms of if there is anything more collective for you going on, friends, network circles, the world at large, community. The community needs us to be expressing ourselves, right? the world needs us to be doing things that we're passionate about, that we're gaining energy through. It's not just other oriented, it is a balance between other oriented and the fact that we do need to be anchored in ourselves, into, rejuvenating ourselves and creating energy through what excites us. So really good way of working with this. Good integration, between Leo and Aquarius, kind of seen in that perspective. So that's pretty much it. I would say with the Aquarius energy, it's a great time of seeing, what are our future aspirations, in our personal life, again, whether it's for ourselves or others. How can we create changes or even disrupt or revolutionize our life in a way that's healthfully changing, so that, again, our life is a greater reflection of what we're truly about, or what we want, or what our ideals are. And so I feel like it's going to be a very grounded full moon. And the reason is, as you can see here, there's this kite formation, looks like a kite, and it is pointing towards the moon here. And so both rulers, Saturn traditionally rules Aquarius, Uranus modernly rules Aquarius. Both rulers are an easy aspect to this grand trine, which forms a kite pointing towards the moon. So this Saturn-Uranus energy we've had this year, and so it has been a great time of establishing any of these changes. So in other words, doing the work and creating solid foundations, building new foundations based on what does give us a greater sense of freedom, right? And what is in alignment with our true self. And so this becomes very grounded, very structured in that sense. I think we have that as part of this. And then the other side to it, Uranus supporting this as well, is that we're likely willing to change, right? We're likely willing to disrupt and pivot and do things that are different and think outside the box and do things we may normally not do because, but it's different. So it could be exciting. It's change. Maybe it's the change we need, because usually the answer isn't the thing we've been doing forever, right? It's the new thing. In order to have change, we need new energy. So that's the Uranus side to it. Doing things that we don't normally do can maybe be the change that we need or want. So really good support here with this kite. Both the rulers and with this sort of fire energy as well. Uranus has slightly dipped into Aries. Again, this is for sidereal, but slowly, dipped in here these past couple months. And so there has been this more fire energy coming through this individual self-expression, and maybe taking more action to create change in our life. We're feeling a bit of that. And with Saturn and Sagittarius, a bit of groundedness with what's possible, right? Seeing what's possible, reflecting on it still with Mars retrograde, which we'll look at, but seeing what's possible and doing the work to ground it, to structure it. So this type of a thing. All right, so that's the full moon in a nutshell. The kite with the full moon in Aquarius. So looking here at the weekends, again, the full moon will be on Sunday. And so as we approach it, we'll likely notice more heightened energy. In fact, on, Saturday, we do have the sun trining up to Uranus and Saturn. So there could be, particularly on that day, that feeling grounded, but also willing to change and to, again, create structures that are more in alignment with our true self. And then on Sunday is the actual full moon. So a really good weekend for what will be an integrating these qualities of Aquarius, for doing a status check. It's a really good weekend for doing a status check. What are your ideals? Asking ourselves, what are my ideals? What do I feel, in this case with Leo bringing into it, inspired about? What do I feel like needs to change? And how can I see things differently? Flip them upside down, look at them from, mix things up, create some change to facilitate, new perspective, but to change our perspective to facilitate change, right? This type of thing. So great time to do a status check. How are these Aquarius energies in our life? And what I will do is down in the comment section, I will put what house that this full moon will be for you, where you have Aquarius in your chart. And this will help give you a little bit more information in terms of what area of life this is likely pertaining to for you. Okay. You can look at that for your sun, moon, and ascendant if you know your time of birth. All right. So yeah, Sunday. So the other thing we have going on Sunday, which is not activating, it's not aspecting the full moon, but still happening at the same time, is Venus is going to be squaring up to Pluto. So I'd say along with this, having a healthy level of non-attachment to relationships or to relating in general with Venus square Pluto. This can sometimes be a bit of deep energy in relationships, attachment perhaps, control sometimes, power dynamics sometimes, because our egos, whether us or it's both parties involved, but we're holding on to something that we're afraid of losing or not having, whether it's an aspect of ourself or the other person or whatever it is. So practicing non-attachment to what we want, to the ego's needs, can help this energy flow. And when we are non-attached in those relationships, then it becomes very constructive, and it becomes this energy of then the walls are coming down. So anything we can do intentfully, especially with our close relationships, or maybe only with our close relationships, to let those walls come down, be vulnerable with ourselves and others, could really facilitate what we're likely wanting on a deep level with this, which is a deep connection. We're wanting depth. Right. And so anything we can do to do that intentfully, how can we intentfully connect deeply? Usually in relationships. And this could also be good for being non-attached to the material realm, since Venus does rule Earth, Taurus energy. So non-attachment to resources, enjoyments, things like that might be a theme for you. If it's not, or if it is, and or relationships. Okay? So that's the Sunday with the full moon. And then as we get into Monday, I'll make a daily forecast for Monday, but Mars is going station direct. So a lot of the stuff that we have been reflecting on in terms of our motivations and drives these past couple months, starting to shift early next week. Slowly as he gains momentum, but shifting nonetheless. And so maybe a pause with this going into Sunday into Monday, of maybe just pausing for a second in terms of what are our needs, what do we want, but just kind of, shifting perspective there for a second, allowing that shift to happen. And then noticing probably next week, things starting to move forward in terms of a bit more clarity in terms of what drives us, what motivates us, what we want, which has been what's been going through the reflection these past couple months. Okay, so that's the weekend in a nutshell. Most important thing, of course, the full moon in Aquarius forming this kite. Great time to do a status check with how are these Aquarius energies in our life? How is our sense of expressing our individuality, doing things that are unique and different outside the box, both for ourselves, but also for the status quo, right? Disrupting the status quo. So it's what the world needs, right? The world needs each of us to be doing, for each of us to be our true self, right? And to do what comes natural and is unique and is different and isn't the same. Because again, when everything's the same, there's no change. So facilitating change, great time to do that. Great time to not only access that sense of individuality, but what are our future ideals? And how can we create change to facilitate those in our life? We have a lot of support from the traditional rulers of them, Saturn and Uranus. And then balancing this with Leo, right? With self-expression, especially now Mercury is slowly making his way back into Leo. It's more of this Leo energy coming through. How can we express ourselves? What gives us energy? How can we give? Right? How can we give ourselves, right? Which is Leo, express ourselves through those ideals, group things, future things, whatever it might be. All right. So everyone have a fantastic full moon. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget that like button. And I'll see you all Monday for the daily forecast.